Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. Today I'll have game two from Iowa GT 2024. And we will be playing against another repeat of the channel, Josh Laffoon. And last time we saw him with Northern Alliance at Lady of the Lake, but this time we'll be seeing him with Twilight. So let's go ahead, jump into his list, and then we'll go through the game. So his list is pretty. I like it quite a bit. It has a little bit of everything. So he has a horde of void walkers with the snares and the blood hex. Keeping them cheaper, not making them melee three. So I like it. Defense first for sure. He has a regiment of fleet wardens, blood hex, and celestial war. Void Touch Mutants with Staying Stone. He has two Phantoms. He has a Horde of Impalers. He has two Skiffs, both with Blood Hex and Harpoons. He has the mandatory planer, it seems. He has a Navigator with Inspiring. He has a Void Captain with the attacks upgrade. He has Mikael, two, and then the formation, which comes with two red troops of fleet wardens, both with blood hex and celestial war. So they come out to a dash 13 normally, and the formation ones get a couple extra attacks, so they're at a 14 attack. They're effectively as good as a regiment who comes in with 15 attacks. A little bit less nerve, but man, are they still cheap. 115. And they can be rallied up beyond this. So, and then that Impaler Regiment, who comes with the Rally One for Corsairs, gotta love it. So, he's rocking the 15 drops and 25 unit strength, which is pretty good. So, and then our scenario we're playing is Hold the Line. So, again, I feel like we're, starting off. We have more units. We have a little bit more unit strength, but I think that Josh's stuff is obviously a little bit more difficult to take off. His unit strength's a little bit more defensive. So this terrain piece, oh man, it's great. It's fun. So, uh, the terrain piece on here is the Dragon's Nest. So you'll obviously see what it is. But in game one, luckily for us, a neutral player won. So I think there was only one ogre player in the entire event. I think that was the only neutral player. So we got lucky. A neutral player won. So the neutral gives Aura Dread, which is actually Dread +1. So this one's good for us. It actually helps both of us because Josh has Mikael, who has Dread as well. But every unit within 6 inches is going to get an additional -1 nerve test. Um, so I think that's perfectly fine, very reasonable. If you read at these things, the good forces of speed, everybody gets +1 speed. That's good. That's perfectly fine. But if evil wins, which reminder that we're both playing evil armies, so as long as we don't draw, it's going to be an evil table after us. And take a look at this incineration. Every unit that begins its turn within 6 inches is hit with Fireball 20. So, oh my gosh. And little spoilers later on in the event. I got to hear several people that played on this table got incinerated by the fireball because after for round two onward, it was an evil table. So, spoiler alert, we didn't draw, Josh and I. So, yeah, so let's take a look at the table. So, this is after we've already deployed, but yeah, so we got a few extra impassable pieces on this one. It's supposed to be like a beachfront, like a water table. So really cool, kind of unique table as far as mat and terrains go. Um, So we got the impassable pieces. That's going to be the skull. The dragon's nest is this massive thing in the middle. And then another impassable piece here. These little geometric pieces, they're actually hills. So pretty cool for that. We have one forest here. Do we have more than one forest? Maybe it was just one. Yeah. Then a couple of little difficult pieces of terrain with those beaches, and then these broken boats are actually obstacles there and there. So, yeah, so a little bit more lane dependent with these three pieces of impassable here. You're going left, you're going right, or there's two lanes in the middle. So for hold the line, it's actually uh, it's actually kind of a big deal because there's only two way like you're kind of committed to which section of the board you're going into depending on which lane we're going down. I believe Josh won the roll off for sides, so he picked that side, which I think is the right choice because these impassable are a little bit further on our side of the table now, so that doesn't allow you to really make last minute decisions here. So deployment wise, Josh did a nice denied flank. He understands that he's outdropped, and I have more unit strength and more scoring units altogether. So he says he's going to play for two spots, and I don't blame him. So he has his captain out on the left, the horde of infantry here, one of the skiffs here, another skiff behind, the phantoms troop back here. It's Mind Screech. He has his mutants, Impaler Horde. He has one of the troops from the formation. Mikael's sitting right here. The regiment with Rally One there. He has then Phantom Troop, the other troop from the formation, and the Fleet Warden Regiment here. And his navigator's sitting behind one of those units as well. So my deployment, I went with a Butcher, Tormentor, which might look a little odd, but I figured because of these impassable pieces, I'm really not getting a whole lot of flanking opportunities, at least not in the middle of the board. So if I get first turn, I'd have to push up past these, or if he gets first turn, then I'm going to be kind of stuck on my side of the board. So we're hoping for first turn. Scarecrows, Soul Flares, or Riftweaver, another Butcher. So we put a decent amount on this flank out here. In the middle, we got two hordes of scarecrows here and here, a butcher, a horror riftweaver, one of the soul flares. We went with both of our mind screeches out here. We got the Dreadfiend, which outside of the icy breath on his navigator, he has nothing for me to, or he does have a planer, so we do have a hex target, but we're not really doing a whole lot of chip shooting, so it'll only matter to hex that guy once we're in combat, and usually the Dread Fiend's a little bit more important to be engaging. So this is not a, unlike the Morgoth situation last game, this is not a mandatory hex unit this game. We do have the Soul Flares out here. They're positioned so that they can jump over this impassable turn one and project some threat towards the middle of the board. And then we got a horde of Scarecrows that are going to try to just control the right side by themselves. So first turn, Josh does get first turn, and he takes it as he should. And he moves up aggressively as he should. So he's got the hold the line under control currently, and we are going to be on the back foot for this one. So we need to make something happen is the goal. Apply some pressure somewhere. So yeah, this is how it looks for his movement. Pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy. Now we can see the navigator. He's right there. So, popping that stealthy spell ward as he does. Then my move looks a little bit like this, so we'll get a little closer. I didn't actually move up much, if any at all. I didn't want his horde to be able to charge me this next turn, so I think I literally stayed put on the left-hand flank. Only thing I did was use the nimble and movement to get these tormentors, both of them behind these guys, so that way there's no charges coming into either of them, and then also cover shots if the skiffs decide to take some pop shots and whatnot. Definitely did not want these phantoms to be able to see either of those guys. So. And then in the middle, we started looking out towards the left just because if he wanted to charge in here, I think the mutants do have a charge if he rolls high enough on the wild charge, but we'll have him threatened from both sides for flanking. So, and then just kind of moving in a little bit. We're not looking to engage into impalers here and the regiment impalers. He does have the troop here, but I'm hoping to use lightning bolt effectively to take out some of these troops. Although the formation ones have extremely high nerves, so it's going to be difficult for that. But we did jump the line. We put ourselves a little bit at risk. He had a troop of phantoms out here that could have charged me, and I basically said, well, we're gonna take our chance. If he charged me, it's not the end of the world. I'll have options to pick those guys up, but we're gonna take a risk and put our guys in charge range, and then lightning bolt after that. And we got lucky. We did pick him up. He was inspired by the Mikael that was in the middle over here. So I think we did like 5 or 6 wounds, got the 7 or 6 twice. So very lucky on our part to have picked that up. Yeah, so it is Josh's turn 2. And he kind of keeps the pressure up on the left hand side and then slowly moves forward into the center as well. So on the left hand side, he charges the phantoms into my butcher on the far left. He gets his character coming up. These guys came up to just touch the hill, and then the skiffs are moving up just a little bit too. I do have to say I don't really like the positioning of his mutants. They're looking in such a way that when they move straight forward, they're going to hit the impassable terrain. So they're 100% limited. They have no way of coming to the middle right now. So with the way they're looking, like I guess you could sidestep these guys and then pivot and move in, but he's going to be in the flank of like this horde unit, so there's no way he actually fits. I think the best way for him to actually position is to angle them slightly to face them onto the left hand flank. Um, it would give him even more movement options than if he can still see with a front arc into this unit, he could move past this piece, pivot, and hit the flank that way. But as it is right now, he's projecting 0 threat into the middle for me. And it's only out here on the left, so I just know where he's going to go and how to kind of manipulate that. So yeah, so and then in the center he just positions to block off his flanks, not allowing any jump overs from the soul flares, and Dreadfiend doesn't have a nimble charge around in any way. So doing his job with those units out here for sure. And he ran the navigator this way to one, provide inspiring, and two, to be able to give himself the auras into the center of the board over here. So, and yeah, so my turn. yeah, I don't like my turn two movement, but we'll get into that here. So on the left, I do like the left hand side movement. So on the left, we take his charge here into the butcher did like one, maybe two wounds. We held as expected, yada yada. So we take the flank with one of the tormentors, and we countercharge the front. I just his movement kept me. It was within an inch of this horde, but I didn't come closer when I moved, so I was able to move past this, which is a big deal, and use my scarecrows as a blocker to pretty much everything out here still. So after my butcher and the flank kills this, I have a reform to turn to face towards the center with this unit, and then the butcher can maneuver so that the individual get to charge what it wants if it chooses to, but he's gonna block himself out where he can't put any of these large bases over on the left hand side here after that. So he has to commit into the scarecrows, which I've repositioned some of the units here now. So there's only a legal charge on the scarecrows, and he just doesn't want to do that. So I have the flank coming here. This butcher's coming over because I need a project threat from this flank into the center to either prevent him from coming at me or to have an answer when he does come at me. So, um, yeah. So then we'll go over to the side. So I like that movement. The other side I don't really care for. This in the center is fine. I'm not really gaining anything. I'm not actually projecting much of a threat, but I'm keeping he's keeping his impalers quite a bit further back than expected. I don't know if his thought was he might need to come back around this side of the building, so he doesn't want to move too far forward to commit. But those impalers aren't threatening a charge out here with their wild charge and whatnot, so I'm not really afraid. If he wants to bring a troop in, he can. It'll hurt, but I'll be able to pick it up the next turn. In fact, this turn was the turn he popped extra defense. Uh, I don't know. I think Josh thought I was going to come into him, which is a fine thought because I do need to get there for the scenario, but it's only bottom of two. So I'm not going to charge in, especially when he uses the Blood Hex for defense five. There's just no way I actually pick up those units. So, and yeah, over here, tough to see behind the dragon, but this is what I don't like. I made just a bonehead move here. So I know this regiment of fleet wardens has phalanx. So I was like, yeah, so I won't charge it with the soul flares. One, they're a high enough defense or nerve that I'm not going to break them. So I'll chaff those guys up with the Dread Fiend, which yeah, he's getting affected by the phalanx, but he should live for at least one turn on the counter charge. And then I have double dread out here as well because of the him and the building. And then I said, well, this troop is easy pickings. He popped his extra defense, but this is the Helm of the Drunken Ram soul flares. So I said, I'm going to be wounding you on twos anyway, so I don't know why you popped that. And I charge in and I rolled a hit, and I'm like, okay, 9 hits, and just like, oh, you're hitting on fours, and I was like, oh my god, I'm such an idiot. That troop has phalanx. I don't know why. I look at those guys and I just don't think phalanx, I guess, but no, it's just something that I clearly should know. I love this formation. I think it's excellent. I rate it very highly. Um, and then I just fall into this and I look at this and I'm like, these charges were awful. I'm just giving away units, I feel like. So my initial thought of kill this troop, turn in, threaten a jump over, hit a flank or a rear even over here. That's not happening. So I ended up only doing like 2 wounds to this troop and maybe even 1 wound to the regiment. So it was very bad. I made a huge mistake, and that could be a game changing mistake because the flank that I was pressuring and forcing kind of his hand as far as dedicating resources out here. I just threw away those resources, and likely what's going to happen is he's going to kill me, and then he's going to apply the pressure through that lane, and I'm going to probably crumble. So this was not good. This was, yeah, just a boneheaded move for sure. So. But anyway, on the other flank, I think we're still in a decent situation. So we kill his unit, reform like so. Again, this individual is going to get into whatever it wants, but none of the other units can fit because if they charge the tormentors, they overhang over the butcher. If they charge the butcher, they're off the board. So the void skiffs are out. Nobody else can get in there. So I'm happy with the positioning. The one horde blocking off 1, 2, 3, 5 units effectively over here. That he can only charge the one horde. So I feel like we're using the board edge in that unit pretty well at this point. So and yeah, there's the whole 1 wound we did over there. Whoop de doo. Um, yeah, so and we shot lightning bolts into the middle, like 3 wounds it looks like. So, but they were defense 5 that turn. They had cover. That's actually pretty darn good. So we'll take that. And this is what it looks like going into top 3 for Josh. So he pops his blood hexes on these units. You'll see a blue chip token when he's extra defense. So comes in, he's gonna likely pick up this unit with all those attacks. So that is fine. He a little interesting. He decided not to charge with his character. I don't know why, honestly. I think that charging this troop here, I think he could have charged the troop, killed it, overran, and he would have maybe been out of inspiring for his units. Uh, or even if he just charged it and sat there, I think it's just a Butcher Flesh Ripper that's charging him. Because with his 7 attacks, he should pick this troop up. He has a really good chance of doing it anyway. Um, yeah, I don't know why he chose to play a little bit more defensively. Maybe he looked at this and saw my mistake on the other side and said the only way I lose this is if I, allow him to pick up units that he shouldn't be, and being out of inspiring range is the only reason that would happen, which is fair enough. But I think if you have a chance to pick up these Tormentor troops, you should definitely take them because they punch well above their weight class. And you do not want them in a flank ever. So, but yeah. Anyway, this is how it ended up on that side. He just countercharges over here. He backs Mikael up over here to apply the dread to both of my units, so it's double dread time over here. But he's facing towards the center still to project threat if I do charge in there. So um, yeah, perfectly fine. He did pop the Vicious Aura with the Navigator as well. So this is what it looks like. And again, he kept the same positioning for this unit, which I don't like. But so this is after my movement, actually. So you'll see I'm in the flank over here. So his reforms, he didn't really have a good option to prevent a flank from something. So yeah, I took the flank on the one thing I could. I said this horde of ensnarers is not really what I want to fight. So I charged it with the butcher because he has no crushing. His unit is majority on the hill, so he can't even double charge me with anything there. So I feel like this is just a good defensive measure to hold him off there and then force the fight to happen just right here. And if he doesn't fight here, I have flanks to take out the horde then. So, yeah, I think that this flank is actually going better than I anticipated up to this point. Um, Granted, we've supported it by bringing in this other Soul Flare units, but we definitely got to take the flanks when we get them. So, and his combat up here ended up wavering the Dread Fiend, so it just backed out. And then he did not waver the Soul Flares, which was nice. We get at least one more round to try and pick those guys up, um, which we do, which was unexpected for sure, because we only had done one wound before. But I think he's defense 4 this time, and we rolled above average. I think we did 5 or 6 wounds this time, which we shouldn't be doing, but that's all right. We should have done more the last turn. So, um, yeah, and we turn to face like this, so that way, something lives. We can, maybe he snake eyes when he charges with Fleet Wardens. We can hopefully pick some up, salvage this a little bit. Um, I'd be happy with just getting some wounds on this unit. Even we screwed up this flank pretty bad. So, but over on the left, we do end up picking um, Void Skips up, and then after the reform, I'm blocking off any charges now into the mutants, and I sidestep this guy. So we're sitting pretty good. We're sacrificing a Soul Flare unit, but we picked up a unit when doing it. I have one, two, three, 4 units sitting behind. He only has 2 looking this way, 3 if you count the character. So we're up on the trades on this side currently, and the middle's not looking great. So we definitely want to win this left side, and we already have the right side because we're just sitting there with that guy. So this is what it looks like on turn 4 for Josh, top 4. So what Josh ended up doing was he didn't actually even go back into the butcher. He withdrew and sidestepped to the board edge, which allowed just enough room for the mutants to get in here. Because they're slightly smaller than the skiffs, and then their final position forced the skiffs to go over here. He pops the blood hex on these skiffs. Yeah, and this is how it ends up, which I'm not unhappy about. He's pretty bogged down right here. There's not many good reform options, anything like that. So, um, yeah, we'll lose some stuff, but hopefully we'll be able to take advantage afterwards. So. He ends up charging the soul flares, and then Mikael turns around. He gets off a icy breath here, and he's got a mind fog here as well. So this guy's already hurting pretty bad, and he's got double dread in range. So if he does 1 or 2 wounds or gets the mind fog off to force the nerve test, it's not likely we're gonna live. So. And we, in fact, do not live, so he picks it up. He also picks up the Soul Flares in combat, which was expected. So, like I said, turn 4, we've already lost that flank just due to the idiocy that of charging phalanx units. So, um, yeah, even if my guys do nothing, at least it just forces his guys to face me and look that way. And if he tries to push forward, I could always threaten to run around or jump over. So I could always have a stalemate out there at the very least, but I threw it away over here instead. So. All right, so my turn, and this is what we're looking at. I think I took pictures after combat, but so sorry about that. So what we ended up doing was we had a flank charge, and then he killed the Tormentor troop, but the other one came in. So a flank and a front with these Tormentors was enough. We picked that up. We did charge these guys over here. We actually got wavered with our soul flares, and there was nobody that could get in. We weren't able to do a withdraw, so we're just stuck engaged there. and we keep trading the lightning bolts and just stalemating here in the middle. Um, but now I had been sidestepping with this horde until I can get into this position to where nothing could charge the flank here. It's pretty close, but I measured it or made sure with Josh that we're on the same page, that the intent was the flank is unable to be charged. So we got a horde that's gonna hopefully hold out long enough if he decides to come around this way. I actually end up moving this horde as well because he could put this three into that, the 3 unit strength from the regiment into that side. Hell, he could even take Mikhail over there if I don't block him out of this side, and he could take me off that far side. Um, so that is not what we want, and maybe should have been proactive once I realized the phalanx debacle. Should have started moving them maybe a turn sooner, but that's all right. So we're in position now where his impalers have moved up a little bit. I've left him some charges that are 13 inches, so he has to roll max wild charge to get them into a combat over here. Um, yeah, and then I was out of front arc of this unit initially, but he backed it up. And I made a mistake here. I didn't actually reposition my butcher. I just left him where he was. So, um, yeah, he has options with this troop, which annoyingly has been healed to full every turn between from this guy back here. So yeah, we had a good lightning bolt turn one, and then some poor ones after that, but that's okay. If I had to pick a good one, I'd want it on turn one. So yeah, on the left we killed the mutants, which is great. So that's a excellent trade for us. And then we reform like so, and so it goes to Josh's turn. And on Josh's turn, we'll see that he actually commits into me, which this is top of five. Um, and I was so far back, I was practically on the edge of my deployment zone, that his charges in the middle, like these guys here, that brings them out of the control zone for hold the line. So I was really surprised to actually see these charges. So yeah, that I think it's a mistake that Josh did this, and we'll see why that is in just a moment here. So um, yeah, so on the flank, these soul flares were hint or wavered, so I wasn't able to disorder the skiffs, so they were able to jump over pivots, and now they're going to do some shooting with their stuff instead, and get a good position because charging there, they were kind of looking at death in the face. So and like I said, this troop charging here, that was just a mistake. If I just back him up or sidestep him or something, he's just sitting here looking for those flanks instead of now getting blocked up. And granted, I probably could nimble around and hit a flank, but it's still, yeah, it's still not ideal. I actually don't think I can because this overhang. But anyway. And then he brings his regiment over into the scarecrows over here, holding me out of the zone, I believe, with this horde successfully. So, and yeah, like I said, if I started moving these guys a turn earlier, they would actually be able to threaten a flank or a rear if he came in here. So, yeah, just a little behind here. We're making some mistakes. So. So shooting ended up shooting those soul flares. Actually, he did not shoot the soul flares. He shot here. I forgot he still had the individual that was hiding behind the hill over here who could see the soul flares, and he took the flank charge, picked him up. Yep. And he did not pick up anything else, which is good for me. So this is the turn that I think Josh has played very well up to this point, but like I said, a couple of those charges, taking himself out of the actual scoring zone, I think is the mistake here, and we're going to capitalize. So on the left, we did not get wavered or anything, so we took the double charge in the flank of the horde, looking to pick this guy up, and then look, there's nobody in the scoring zone on this left side, and I'll have 3 units alive over here, and it's bottom of 5 right now, so that's an awesome place for us. He um, I think his impalers rolled ridiculous. He hit 18 out of 18 on his impalers, and even with the vicious aura that he had in range, he did roll. He only did 16 wounds. So he did roll 2 1s that re-rolled into 2 1s. So he did 16, and I think he rolled a 4, or maybe it was a 3. But he failed to kill this horde, um, even though he hit 18 out of 18. It was just ridiculous. And that, I think if he kills that horde, that definitely changes the game here because this flank doesn't happen. So think he came in hoping he was going to kill the horde, but then he also mentioned that he's like, I thought my skiffs were tall enough. So he forgot that my height 4 over his skiffs was enough to get this going. Um, so yeah, this is the only way I can kill impalers is to hit him in the flank like that. So we take those for sure. Double flank here. We're leaving a skiff unit free, but they were undamaged anyway. There's really nothing much we can do about it. We're hoping we can kill this troop. They've eaten so many damn lightning bolts this game, but I think they're still fresh because he healed them. So, and then over here we're just countercharging, moving up a little bit, and countercharging. So but we did charge over and hit the navigator with one of our guys, and then the other guy just flew over at the double because I looked and I was like, that's not much unit strength in the middle, so I'm gonna put him there. He has 3 unit strength here for 5, and I have 1, 2. These guys can sidestep 3, 4. I think this horde might just barely be in. So we're sitting close, or we're tied maybe right now on bottom of 6 in the middle. It was my thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, and then these 3, so 5. So I think that was what I was going for. But even if we're not, I'm controlling the outer edges on both sides still. So we do get a turn 7, or maybe that was only bottom 5. Yeah, that was only bottom 5. Sorry. So I do kill the horde out here. He charges the tormentor troop. He charges the horror riftweaver with the individual. He countercharges here. We did kill the impalers. Yeah, and so we did a wound to the navigator, which for those folks out there that don't know, all you have to do is disorder the navigator, then they cannot do their navigator auras of bullshit. So that was something that even Josh was questioning, and we looked it up, make sure we knew for sure, and in fact, that is 100% true. So stop navigator auras by charging them. So top 6. This is Josh's move. Yep. And yep, so he brought the navigator, was able to see through, individual pivot around, brought him in here just for the funs of it. Counter charge, double charge, all the good stuffs. He ends up whiffing a little bit because this guy already had 2 wounds, so he did 4, and then he wavered me. He does kill the tormentor though. He does kill the butcher and picks up the horde. So this is even after my turn. So yeah, so he picks this up. He picks up the horde. So on my turn 6, I ended up charging the individual, lightning bolting the planer, and I ended up picking up both. I killed the individual, overran, killed the planer after it was weakened from lightning bolt, and then pivoted, and I'm in the middle with them, and I have both my soul flares in the middle still as well. And these guys are still on the right hand side, um, but yes. So in his turn, he's charging here. I actually also got really lucky to pick up the regiment of impalers over here. And then the flat fight of the century, we just keep going back and forth. Nobody can kill anybody there. So, and then I do take my butcher into this here. This actually holds him out of this zone over here. Um, and my butcher is in the zone. I did look and measure if he withdraws and then tries to sidestep. It still is not enough to get him in the zone. Um, so, and even if he is, well, maybe he does kill that, but either way, he's out of the zone over there right now, and this is his last turn. That was the thing. He has to charge, kill, and then overrun. So, or counter charge, kill me, and overrun. So, um, yeah, so he killed the horde with these guys. He then kills the soul flares with Mikael, and that was the game. So I didn't get a picture of the end of the board, but I ended up controlling the right hand side with that fresh horde that's been over there since the beginning. I controlled the center with both mind screeches to his Mikael. Um, and then I believe I controlled the left as well because he went for a kill. He realized he was losing two zones already, so he was gonna just do kill points, and he failed to kill the butcher. So yeah, the end of the game, it was a bloody one. In fact, Josh killed more of my stuff than I killed of his, but it still ended up being just a 0 for kill points. I also controlled the dragon at the in the middle of the board with my two soul flare or mind screeches, so I got the bonus +2 for that. So win at a +2 puts me at 17, so solid win for round two. Um, with the big win in round one puts us, still in the top couple, two, three players probably. I think we got jumped this round by two other players actually. So, um, but yeah, it was a great game for Josh, and we actually talked after the game, and I asked him some questions on some of his movements, especially the turn he came and charged me and took himself out of the scoring zone. And there was a couple things that came to light. One, uh, he thought my hordes of scarecrows were unit strength 4. Um, which played an impact in his decision making. So his thought was he did not want me to be able to push that unit strength 4 into the center, and be able to overwhelm him in the center. He also didn't even consider going after my right flank after he killed the units that I stupidly threw away into him, because he thought if he just took the fleet wardens out there, he was already losing that table edge if I was unit strength 4 and he was only 3. And he didn't want to commit both those and Mikael over there. So just a couple of misunderstandings when it came to Josh's decision making. I think answers why some of the things happened in the game the way they did. But yeah, I think Josh played a good game, had a solid strategy, but then didn't lost sight of the win condition towards the end of the game with some misunderstandings. I think is a fair way to put it. Um, so all in all, I think this was Josh's game to lose. He had the positioning. The terrain was definitely in a good spot for him. I made the mistakes I made. It was not. It was not a clean game by me by any means, but when mistakes happen on both sides, it ended up I was able to just capitalize at the very end. So, but really fun game, Josh, and I think that your Twilight list is pretty excellent. It's a very good, well balanced list. Maybe lacking in needing a little bit of shooting to apply pressure, but I do love the formation. I think Mikhail's an excellent choice that we hardly ever see. And yeah, so very well rounded army altogether. So uh, yeah, so we're sitting at, I believe it was 39 battle points now with a 22 and a 17 going into round three. And we should be in third place for battle currently. So we're going to let the top two players battle it out, and we're going to fight then on table two. And it's going to be a good game. So appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.